All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. Hopefully, you guys aren't working too hard like I am, but had a little bit of time before got this other meeting to get on here and get my 2 cents about some of the minor recruiting violations that Colorado has self-reported. And I don't think you'll see any punishment coming after this, but I wanted to go through in case you guys weren't uh, familiar with the specifics, talk through them. Again, give you my take on it, hear what you guys have to say. All that, of course, would appreciate you hitting that like. If you like what I do, that will spread this out to other Buffs fans. So, hey, I want to give a quick shout out, of course, to Buddy as well as John Wick. Does Bama get the same scrutiny? Or are they just targeting Coach Prime? I do want to say, John Wick, in terms of the coverage of this, like other media outlets covering this, sure. But I do want to reiterate that these recruiting violations were self reported by the CU athletic department. So no one's outing us, anything like that. We are outing ourselves, which I think when you do have a microscope on your program where you do have a little bit of a target on your back, you might not be able to get away with certain things that other schools can get away with. And so credit to Rick George, the administration, on reporting these things and in instituting like self punishments or whatever, even though all this stuff is really stupid. It's really, really dumb. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and take you guys through this really quickly. That way we can all be on the same page as, what's being said, what's really out there. But again, we're not being targeted unfairly by this, by the NCAA. We self-reported this. So this is courtesy of USA Today. Yo, what the heck? Why'd it go away? Okay. Hopefully y'all can see this okay. This is courtesy of Brent Schrottenbohr. Colorado self-reported a number of minor NCAA violations in football under Deion Sanders. Here's a summary of minor NCAA violations that occurred under Deion Sanders at Colorado in his first year as a coach there. And I'll take y'all through this. Coach Deion Sanders and his Colorado football program got dinged for 11 minor NCAA violations since his hiring in December of 2022, including some that show how the prolific use of social media by a coach can sometimes get tripped up by the 452-page NCAA rulebook. USA Today Sports obtained documentation of the violations, all of which were self-reported by the university to the NCAA, and none of which risk any serious penalties. So if anybody's telling you anything outside of this information, man, that is, in the words of Eric Morris / Coach Prime, bull junk. To be clear, such minor violations are common in virtually every single major college athletic department, such as Ohio State, which reported 2 minor violations in football in 2022 and 23, and Alabama, John Wick, which self-reported 9 minor violations that same year, including none in football. Self-reporting them is considered a positive sign of diligence and integrity, as opposed to not reporting them at all to avoid scrutiny. All appear to be inadvertent violations of an NCAA rulebook that can be highly complex. So, let me scroll through here a little bit. In one case, a security breakdown led to an impermissible game day simulation for a recruit, followed by a write-up from an NCAA that said future similar violations may result in more significant penalties, including a suspension of the head coach from the contest. I believe this had to do with Cormani McClain lining up in that athletic stance on his visit. Again, really ridiculous stuff, right? Transfer portal violation. Here we go. On May 30th, Colorado hosted a postgraduate camp that was open to recent high school graduates and transfers from other colleges who had entered the transfer portal. More than 350 players participated, but the university later identified 7 did not have an active status in the transfer portal, violating a rule. That is just, man, just not due diligence. We got to make sure that all these guys, before they get to that workout or whatever, that camp, that they are active. Okay. As a penalty, the school imposed a 2-week recruiting ban from all recruiting activity, June 15th to June 28th. So, guys, that's kind of a theme with some of these things. Like, I'm glad that we've self-reported, took it in our responsibility to, impose a punishment, even though I feel like all this is ridiculous. But maybe this goes into a little bit of maybe why we didn't have the biggest high school recruiting class. Man, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that's 2 weeks for not checking and making sure that 7 guys that were showing up to that camp were actually legit. Okay. Then we got the Deion Sanders Instagram violation. Let's see. When Sanders was hosting an Instagram live session on his Instagram account and a recruiting prospect was featured in the live stream. Oh, yeah, this was with Aaron Butler, who orally committed to play for Sanders on that live stream before later changing his mind and signing with Texas. Sanders didn't have a public conversation with Butler, but he was featured as a participant for 2 minutes, which violates a rule, a bylaw that prohibits recruits from being involved in media activity conducted by a school's head coach. Again, super minor technicalities, things like that. But after being alerted to the live stream, credit to Chase Meyer, called for the activity to be stopped. And another 2-week recruiting ban when this happened. Then then we got the security breakdown. Colorado played a home game against Stanford on October 13th when former Colorado player and a friend of the show, Matt McChesney, went to the game with his son and a recruit for the class of 2028. Both were on the field before the game and were escorted off the field before kickoff. But what happened next violated an NCAA rule that limits what a recruit can do on an unofficial visit, including a prohibition on game day simulations, such as running onto the field with the team prior to pregame introductions. After being escorted off the field, the report said the former player and his son entered the locker room for the pregame speeches by the football coaching staff. Chesney is well known and told security that they were permitted to the entire tunnel and also the locker room. Said the school's report, the football coaching staff was not involved and was in the midst of pregame preparations and did not know McChesney and his son were in the locker room. Following the speeches, he exited with the football team as they ran out onto the field, triggering a game day simulation violation. As a result, CU's report said the former player had field access revoked for the rest of the season, and rules education was provided to the football staff. So, everybody learned there what they could and could not do. Let's see here. The football program should reduce 2023-24 recruiting person days by 2, the NCAA said in this case. Dang. Future similar violations may result in more significant penalties, including suspension of the head coach from a contest. The school report said a breakdown in security measures is what led to the violation occurring. Asked a further comment, McChesney told USA Today Sports he's been going to games for years and know that his son is a recruit. Again, this is kind of a technicality with a larger microscope on your team. It makes sense, like, why these things might happen. I'm sure McChesney, as well as other players, depending on what games they've been at throughout, the last handful of years, they've been able to kind of do those things. But hey, when you have a microscope on your program, you just got to follow a little bit closer, the rules and, be following these dumb technicalities. I feel like that's kind of ridiculous, especially since McChesney has been a former player and media member for a long time in the Denver Boulder area. But at the end of the day, they got to learn from this. That's what I'm hoping for. Then we had some more social media violations. Sanders' social media posted an image on Twitter that showed a spreadsheet of recruiting prospects, which prohibits a school from publicizing recruits before they officially sign with the school. The intent of the post is not to publicize the recruitment listed because the majority of recruits posted are not being recruited by CU. The intent was to show recruits that they were not being ignored. Very interesting. Anyways, they removed it after 10 minutes, but as a penalty, they had rules education on social media. That was provided to the whole football staff with that. It looks like we've had some more Instagram violations regarding, let's see here, voluntary workouts. Yes. So I think this was the Cormani McClain one where they showed him in an athletic stance. As a penalty, Colorado's countable athletic activities were reduced by 30 minutes. Okay. Yeah. The forbidden game day situation with Cormani McClain. The prospective student athlete was lined up in an athletic stance wearing a uniform on the field, lined up across from a staff member, Coach Sanders. Again, super dumb stuff. I can't believe we have rules for this stuff, but hey, I guess we're learning, right? Because we haven't seen any more of those. Yeah, it looks like some transcripts and mistakes, a yoga coach violation, impermissible contact with a recruit from Andre Hart when asked to take a picture with him, premium seating access by a recruit on an official visit this past year at USC. Ended up, sitting in a seat that was valued at $475. And posted a video of him doing that. So, anyways, I'll finish off with this. I know this is a long article and I was wanting to get through it, talk to you guys before I got to hop to this meeting. But if Colorado and other schools didn't report such minor infractions, they could get in more trouble later if it's discovered they failed to monitor and report them. In another case, Colorado self-reported a clerical issue that resulted from changing football coaches in late 2022. The designated 8 weeks of discretionary time for players were not placed on file in writing prior to January 1st, 2023 as required. Such reporting matters, even if the rules seem small and obscure, which they absolutely are. But hey, like at the end of the day, again, I don't feel like I need to go into a long diatribe on why a lot of these things that are deemed impermissible are ridiculous. And really all of them. But we're doing the right thing as a program, self-reporting these things. You never want to tell your staff to take, 2 weeks at a time off of recruiting from the recruiting trail. It's BS. But again, these aren't penalties that the NCAA is giving us. We are self-imposing them to make sure that we do not become a target by the NCAA, such as the likes of Florida State, right? So, hey, credit to the athletic department, the administration. Again, I have no idea of all these little specific rules with social media. And so I'm glad we're taking the opportunity for Coach Prime, the rest of the staff to go through and learn these things because, hey, it sounds like there's just a lot of these little things that sometimes you just got to learn what's okay and not okay as you go about things. And with a team that, prides itself in part of the recruiting pitch is the access that we give on social media, this stuff is bound to happen. But I don't see, I don't really see why this is a big deal. So, anyways, I think like some of this is kind of funny, but there's a couple things that's frustrating. Like, just make sure guys who are coming to camps are officially in the transfer portal. Like for me, that's much easier to make sure that we handle instead of like, hey, you can talk about guys in these certain ways on social media, or you can or can't take a picture, or you have to be approached in a certain way in order to interact with them. It's like, uh, it's just a mess. Man, you guys are ruthless. I'm not gonna get into all this, but yeah, Eric Morris. All these were really stupid. But hey, all these media companies, of course, they're gonna take their opportunity to get some more clicks with their headlines, right? At the end of the day, we have operated with character and integrity with this. So, I think that's great. Credit and point to Coach Prime, the administration, for dealing with this stuff in I think in the right way. But yeah, I don't know why the NCAA cares about any of this. They got a lot of, you know, they got a lot of narcs, man. That's just what it is. K Vizzy saying on three, post it, post it, and just makes it look worse. Every team has violations. Yes, totally, no doubt. What's up, Carly? Tremaine? Hope you guys are doing well. But yeah, the funniest part is they self-reported, meaning they chose to tell the NCAA about this. Other schools don't have the balls to self-report or truthfully or don't care enough. Or, if they don't, then it leads them open to kind of, in my opinion, become a target, such as Florida State. And hey, we already got a big enough target on our backs right now, right? But yeah, Tremaine, I'll be at the spring game, no doubt. Just a quick drive down the road. But because we do have this spotlight, we have to we have to be perfect. We have to um, make sure we have our I's dotted and our T's crossed more than other programs. Because I mean, that's just the reality of it. It's not all the same here. Yes, come for the bull junk violations. We needed those boys. Now we can't have a camp. Yes, yeah, screw the NCAA. Absolutely. Like all this stuff is really stupid. I wish we could break away from the NCAA. But at the end of the day, man, like, how do we not realize that those guys weren't officially in the transfer portal? I don't understand. Like, before you hire somebody to work for you, you check their paperwork. Like, you do a background check. I don't understand what was happening with this. Like, if they just allowed guys to just show up. Um, yeah, but it is crazy. And then Coach Kev, I'll end with this. I remember a violation in the 90s where CU got hit because some recruit sat at the wrong table in the cafeteria. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Rules, dude, rules suck, man. Rules suck. And Aaron Butler, good luck at Texas, man. I'm excited to see where he goes. But guys, we're stacked at receiver right now. I'll tell you that. But anyways, guys, don't let anybody make this a bigger deal than what it is. At the end of the day, Colorado did the right thing. Credit to the administration for operating with integrity and character. That's something these other media sources, man, they're not going to tell you about, right? So I got to get back to it. Appreciate y'all as always. Please hit a like on the way out, and as always, guys, go Buffs.